When you pull on that jersey, you represent yourself and your teammates. And a name on the front is a hell of a lot more important than the one on the back. Get that through your head.
And here we go.
And it is no good. He missed it. Are you kidding me? The season can't end like that.
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
Some goofball in a hat and a red shirt. Now he takes off the shirt. He's running down the middle by the 50. He's at the 30. He's bare-chested and banging his chest. Now he runs the opposite way. He runs to the 50. He runs to the 40. The guy is drunk, but there he goes. The 20. They're chasing him. They're not going to get him. Waving his arms, bare-chested. Somebody stop that man.
Viva Las Vegas and Viva NETMA. Welcome to finally another live edition of the program of NETMA. I'm your host, Tyler FALK. Glad you could join us here on a Tuesday evening edition of the program. We've got a lot to talk about tonight. As I'm speaking, I'm guessing the Commissioner, Cam Irvine, has put out more information. Just not yet. Not any more information, so I will not spoil any surprises that Cam Irvine has to say. I know a couple of things that maybe a few others don't know, but I'm just for the secrecy on that. But we're off to Vegas in July, and there's nothing confirmed as of yet for NETMA. NETMA would love to be there. I would love to be in Las Vegas. If things play out the way that I hope they do, maybe there'll be a live episode of NETMA this time around, unlike there was one last time when we were over in Houston. But no, it's good. I think we're gonna have a fantastic time. Different couple of days. A couple of you have caught that. Not a weekend affair, a Sunday through Tuesday convention over in Nevada, and I think that might help out a few people, and we won't have to deal with a whole lot of. Weekend travel can be a lot more expensive than weekday travel. So I expect maybe a few other people to take advantage of it, maybe have a longer stay in Vegas, and just the convention is just sandwiched in between the vacation days for those that can go and those that can go longer and those that just want to come for a day. That's perfectly okay. The convention is set up in a way where you can come as you please, show up for only just your game if you want to, and then take your leave of the convention. But to get everyone back together again in a non-COVID, or as much as we can, hopefully, non-COVID atmosphere, I think it's going to be good to get a bunch more people at the convention. Again, Las Vegas, not the cheapest destination for most, but if you play your cards right, I'm not condoning gambling in the slightest, but well, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, and I think what happens in Vegas for the SFL convention might just be broadcasted over at NXT. We will see. But no, it's going to be a fun time. Looking forward to meeting a lot more newer people to the league, and catching up with some of my friends here in the league as well, as many of you as possible. So looking forward to Vegas. Looking forward to what the convention brings this time around. And looking forward to seeing you all there. Week 11's in the books, so let's go ahead and get to all 9 games. 4 on Saturday, 4 on Sunday, and of course 1, I should say, last night on Monday. If you haven't noticed, brand new setup here. Lost all my data from NETMA, and Liam pointed out, use the cloud. I went to the cloud, and there were some of my programs and photos in there, and stuff I use for NETMA in there. However, they aren't compatible with this system for some reason. I think it's just a file formatting error that I had on my old system. Maybe it was PC to Windows or something like that. But I was able to capture a couple of things, but not everything. So of course, need a lot more time to program the ticker. And at that point, I figured, you know what? Let's scrap the old ticker. Let's bring out a new ticker when it becomes available, when I have more time to work on it. And this during the season, during trying to get as much of this stuff done as possible, it's taxing. I'll just put it that way. But I'm back, and hopefully for the foreseeable future, and we'll take care more of the intricacies and all that other fun stuff. But let me know how I sound. First of all, can you hear me? Hopefully am I not muted? Is everything coming across on your end okay? Can you guys see the entire picture? Can you guys see my hands here on the far side? I did a little bit something to the resolution. Hopefully those of you that can watch this in 1080p are watching in 1080p. So that's the main reason. That's why it might be a little bit different. So let me know how things are in the comments or in the NETMA server Discord channel, link to which is down below. If you want to get involved with the league, the SFL website is also linked to the link down below. If you want to become part of the league, the league's Discord is in the official website. So glad to see everybody back. Glad I'm back. Glad you're back. Let's take a look at week number 11. First off, we had London and Arizona are on the ropes. It was London's defense. It was a very good defensive performance from London. Not something we often see. They usually give up a bunch more points. They're last. Their defense is last in terms of giving up average points per game. They did really well to stifle Arizona. Of course, the struggles that Arizona has had this season with not having the Hans brothers to start the season, Eddie and company learning how Weston and Owens line up has taken some time, and 3 just tough losses. This one maybe not so much in a sense, but 2 red zone interceptions thrown by Ashley Jackson, who is announced her retirement, courtesy of Swamp Talk. Very, very. It's tough. Arizona are in a must-win territory now. London, they put themselves in a much better spot. They put themselves back in control of where they might end up at the end of the season. So for London, it's a good spot. For Arizona, their next game versus Las Vegas is really going to tell the tale of the tape for their season. If they can come out and firing against Las Vegas, who played some really fantastic ball. We'll get to them in a moment. But Arizona really, really struggling here. Really tough schedule as well. Las Vegas, Baltimore, Sioux Falls to close out the season. All right, on to game number 2, San Diego, Houston, and simply row your boat. Here to see of a couple of players that made some exciting plays. I've highlighted DR Sim down below. 5 receptions, 126 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was unleashed in that football game. The Mavericks try to play bump coverage on him, and you can't do that against DR Sim. You have to play him deep in coverage. Otherwise, he's going to burn you, and he burned him twice on 2 big touchdown passes. He had a couple of clutched receptions over the middle of the field as well, 5 in total, of course. But the score line doesn't do it justice. I know it looks a little bit closer, but it was 40-7 going into the final 4 minutes of that ball game, and San Diego were able to score 2 touchdowns in #garbage time. But San Diego looked like a team on a mission. They have really impressed a lot of people, myself included, over the last couple of weeks. That's 4 straight wins on the bounce for Houston. San Diego, a team that looked like they could potentially be, a playoff contender at the beginning of the season with some very nice wins. Sadly, have skydived back down to earth. No clutch, no yak, no yaw, no controls. The plane's on autopilot at this point. But Houston, mentioned simply for DR Sim, but Rowe, he got the record number of pick sixes in a season. I believe it's number 4 for him when he picked off San Diego near their own goal line from Mike Ryan, who's of course the player I support. Hats off to Mr. Rowe. Very, very fantastic stuff. Again, it's a record for a reason, for 4 in a season, to be a dynamic player for Houston. Again, he's possibly, I wouldn't even say possibly at this point, he is one of the cornerstones of that defense at this point. So Josh Rowe putting in some work for Houston. Congratulations to him. And Houston on a very nice stretch of run. They are, 6-4? Houston? No, they are 5-4. After that, wow, 4-game bounce after 1-4 to go on to 5-4. That's even more impressive as I take a look at it. All right, on to the next game. Vancouver, Los Angeles. Someone else could say it much better than me. A comedian could say this much better than me. Los Angeles, you blew it. Okay? We don't have to go into it too much, but it has to be said. You're in field goal range. And for some that are like, oh, it's the sim, they're not like that. It's not it wouldn't happen in real life. Yeah, it wouldn't have happened in real life. But this is a different kettle of fish. It's a whole different ball game, literally. And setting up playbooks, setting up your mentality in a ball game from the start of the ball game must carry throughout the entirety of the game. In Las Vegas, they tried to bet on blackjack, is what Los Angeles tried to do. They tried to beat the house, and they busted. They didn't just bust their game, they busted their season. A pick over the middle, inside the 20-yard line. Vancouver will take this win happily and run out of Los Angeles in a flaming pile of heap, kind of like that stadium, with one of the ends being on fire. I think that's a pretty good analogy for how their season has gone, Los Angeles. So hopefully they turn it around next season, but Los Angeles, all for all intents and purposes at this point, are eliminated. Vancouver, you got lucky. You got lucky. That's all I'll say. All right. On to the next game. Tulsa versus Florida, and there's too much pressure. There was way too much pressure. Not on Tulsa. Maybe a little bit on Tulsa. But on Florida. We all saw how bottled up that Florida offense was against Louisiana. I think this is a little bit of a revenge game. And for poor Tulsa, Florida came out firing on all cylinders. Charlie Boletsky had himself a day after being limited to under 50 yards or close to 50 yards versus Louisiana. Rod Cochran had a solid day. That defense played lights out against Tulsa. Tulsa were just completely overmatched. And for Tulsa, it's a good spot for them to be in at 500, at 5-5 at this point of the season. For Tulsa, they got Louisiana and Atlanta. They might finish the season 6-6. They play another tough defense in the Revs. They play a tough defense in Atlanta. But at the same time, that offense has to contribute. Tulsa's offense has to be a little bit more consistent as they come out of the break this upcoming bye week in Week 12 as they prepare to go into Week 13, 14, and potentially the postseason if they can play to their strengths. Tulsa's already beaten Louisiana once this season. Early on in the season, it was the last loss that the Revs suffered before going on this big old win streak. So Tulsa has shown they can beat the Revs. May they? Will they? We don't know yet. We'll find out later. Florida, though, very, very, very solid day for the Storm as they get back on track and get back into the playoff picture. 5-4, back above 500. Atlanta next on the docket. We'll see what happens. All right, next ball game. This one is the fifth game, I believe, if I do my math right in my head. St. Louis and Jacksonville pick party. To be honest, I couldn't watch this game. I could not watch this game in the first quarter. 5 turnovers, 5 interceptions combined before the first touchdown was scored in a total where there was 13 interceptions. This was an ugly game. The defense has played well. Let's just put it out there. The defenses were the story of the show. But for me, it's too chaotic. These interceptions. Yes, it's exciting, but there's a point where you got to look at yourselves and be like, that's way too much. You got to be more consistent with the football. Call some plays that aren't going to get your quarterback into some trouble. Because both quarterbacks were in hot water that entire football game because the two defenses played lights out. St. Louis, sorry, your offense just couldn't get it done. Was it 8 picks for Christian Brown in one of his final games for the Gladiators? Ugh. I don't know what to say about this. Just a pick party. The defenses played lights out. Next, on the docket, Carolina, Atlanta. And it was a spectacular Vanishing Act for Atlanta. I'm sorry, but I'm upset. I am upset for every single member, including the coaching staff, in Atlanta. I'm not upset against them. I'm upset because they couldn't do anything in the second half. 0 first downs, 0 yards, 0 points in the second half. It was also the second time in that ball game that Carolina came back. They were down 17-zip in the first half, and the second half down by 13, and Carolina, give them credit, they come all the way back and take the lead. I'm shocked. I am shocked. How do you let the former swing passes are us ball club come all the way back and your defense can't do nothing? 2 3-and-outs, a couple of interceptions, and nothing to show for it. I am enraged for Atlanta. The entirety of Atlanta. And because this is the reason why I'm not mad at Atlanta. This is the reason why no one should be mad at Atlanta. Not even their own players at the coaching staff. They are literally trying everything. They are literally trying to switch up the coordinators to see what works and what doesn't. But I can't help but be just so enraged. I'm so pissed off. And it's not even my own team. Like, I should be happy a division rival is failing to execute anything. But at the same time, I can't help but feel incredibly depressed for Atlanta. Carolina, take your win and run. 3-7. 5-7 might not be enough for a playoffs, maybe. But if you take down Atlanta, your guys are both 5-7. Carolina, you have a tiebreak in Atlanta. This is a spectacular vanishing act for the Atlanta offense. They're trying everything. Hopefully next week they continue to change, though. They play Florida. They play Florida. And to give you credit there, Chad, yes, they scored 37 points in the first quarter, in the first half. They couldn't close out that football game. That's why I'm upset. That's why I'm upset. Because the entire game was a book. It was 2 halves of a book. One half where everything is going just perfectly for Atlanta, and the second half where Carolina decides we're done being pushed around. That's They couldn't close out the football game. That's what makes me mad. All right, on to game number 7. Las Vegas, again, hosting the convention, the first week of the season, the convention in Las Vegas. Murray Muggs, Vegas. Las Vegas had a very good game. They had a very, very good game. They controlled the clock. They had the most first downs. They limited their turnovers. They had everything going. The one difference maker was Warren Murray. 3 touchdowns for the man coming out of retirement. The man coming out of retirement had himself another solid ball game. 6 touchdowns a week ago, 3 this week. And if not for him, again, Baltimore might be staring their first loss in the face because Las Vegas, I think, played really well. That offense in the second half just couldn't keep up for the Fury. But Baltimore, something about this West Division, man. At least Sioux Falls and Las Vegas have put up some really good fights against the Vultures. Some teams should take notice about these couple of games, last 3 games, I should say, that Baltimore has placed against West Division foes. Baltimore again undefeated, 9-0. Las Vegas, very tough loss, 3-6. So it's literally do or die for Las Vegas and Arizona as they play each other next week. It's for their playoff future. It's to keep their season alive. If this game, I don't know if this is already on next level, but I think this game might get flexed to next level if I'm the commissioner, Cameron Irvine. All right, on to game number 8, last game of Sunday's slate. Queen City 17, Sioux Falls 41. They went back to their roots. GP Wells, he was phenomenal. He scored thrice, so 2 running backs scored 3 times for last 2 ball clubs, Sioux Falls and Baltimore, both known for maybe some good offense. Sioux Falls known for more of their rushing attack in most years, but GP Wells, 129 yards, 3 touchdowns on 8 carries. Very solid day for GP. It was a nice balanced attack. Tyree didn't have to throw the ball a whole lot, only 26 attempts. No interceptions, kept it clean, 1 touchdown. And of course, GP Wells stole the show, 3 rushing touchdowns. And that defense is legit. If the one thing that has been consistent for the Sparrows, even in their down season the last couple of seasons, has been that defense. That defense just been phenomenal. Barnett with a pick 6 and another interception. 4 interceptions all day for the Sparrows as they limit Queen City. They take down Queen City and have a very solid day. So Sparrows looking pretty good in my opinion. All right, on to Monday Night Special. We go. Lone Star in Fort Worth. It was good to see Nelson Lozano back on a call in any form. Good to see him back. And we got Ray Bentley as well. So 2 fantastic people of the league. They get to tell some stories, have some fun. Good to see Gunny on a live telecast as well. Maybe Gunny needs to be an analyst, but the wisest man in the SFL having himself a good day. And everybody else who joined, Chris Curtis on the call as well for a little bit. We had Ron Cochran. We had the Tulsa Desperados owner. And then there's one other guy. Not Judah Dorgan, I don't think. No. Name escapes me. I apologize. But I think it was a pretty decent call. Yes, a little bit delayed, of course, as a few people noticed. But that's just how it was set up. Again, it's really difficult sometimes to get everybody on sync in how you broadcast a game. It's easier for the broadcasters. We use a special program, but for stuff like the convention, stuff like the convention's more live. I shouldn't say that, but for stuff like this, stuff that we're trying out, I think we might need to use that special program in case you don't know. I think Cam has said it a couple of times already, but we use Parsec to watch the games live, and that's how the broadcasters are able to call games as we see them. It used to be a whole lot more difficult for a lot of broadcasters back in the day, but we'll get back to that more later. But I think as far as the concept goes, I think having Ray and Nelson or 2 more spectacular names in the SFL do something like that. I think that's proof of concept. Well displayed, I should say. All right, on to Fort Worth Lone Star. Now on to the actual game, right? Toros got way too desperate, in my opinion, especially in that second half. Passed the ball 19 times, only ran twice, and they were ahead. They were ahead in the second half to begin that second half, but they just couldn't get anything going in that second half. And the Toros might be on the other side of the playoffs this in the upcoming seedings if they can't win 2 more games. It looked like they might be the Cinderella story. Lone Star just had a better game. It looked really, really rough for Glory in that first half. Adam Leach getting a 100-yard pick 6 to close out the first half. Players and coaches alike unhappy with how things are going on. A couple of infamous words were said in chat, but you got to play all 44 minutes, Glory. You don't. It just because the game's going one way doesn't mean that it's going to end up going that way. But the Glory come out with the victory, and they capitalize on the poor second half the Toros did. They come away with the victory. All right, well, I think that does it for our first show back. And we'll be back tomorrow with Tyler's Top 10. So we'll go back to power rankings. And then I think that'll do it for tomorrow. Oh, Thursday I got an interview with someone. We'll talk about more of that tomorrow as we close out that show. And of course, Friday we've got more NETMA, and that's going to be our pick-up. SFL community and myself are both tied up on our record. All right, thanks for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place, right here at 7 p.m. Eastern, right here on NETMA. Until then,